Dig It With The Programming. I'm Chase Ingram.
I'm Captain America.
And along with me is Bill Grundler.
Wolverine.
Have you seen any info yet on the new Deadpool movie since the last time we talked?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh, and? Is this like spoiler stuff or?
I don't think. I think it's clickbaity for a movie, I guess.
Oh, okay.
It's not bad. I mean, I get kind of stoked on it.
Okay. I'm pumped.
Yeah.
I'm super pumped. I can't wait. But today is our third edition of Analyzing the Programming of the 2023 Noble CrossFit Games, and we will touch on the age group division. We've been excited about this coming. Traditionally, it's usually been, I don't want to say like more classic CrossFit.
Better
than that, but
better programmed CrossFit.
Yeah, right? Like the last few years, it's like, hey, this is just simple, clean, balanced, doable, easy to follow, easy to understand.
It doesn't. It doesn't ever. It hasn't ever felt like. No, that's wrong. It feels the most appropriate overall for the division that we're testing. Like you look at it, and it is. I wouldn't say it's simple in like that, but it's appropriate to what you're trying to attack. It's not grasping at straws of trying to get something that like, well, let's see what crazy thing we could do with this craziness. It's just really damn good CrossFit programming. It's aggressive. I don't think it's not aggressive. It is aggressive, or it has been in the past. So you're right. It's always been. I mean, we come out of this and it's like, you're the one that's always saying, it's like, yeah, the games, the individual, it's like, those are cool, but I want to do these ones.
Yes.
Like I really want to do these ones.
Yes. Cause like you look at some of the games ones and like, damn, that's a good event, but I want no part of that. Right. And I was running through these, and it's funny is that when I'm at the games, like I've been so immersed in what the individuals are, like who they are, men and women, what the events are, details, background, all these things. And then I go back, I'm like, dude, I don't even know. I know who won, but it's like, I don't even know what the events were for the individual or for the age groupers or the team. So to see all that and come back to it, I was like, man, there's some events in here. I was like, I had no idea that was an event.
Right. Well, and some of them, even with me, I mean, here I am a master. I program for masters athletes. That's what I do. And I am sad to say that, like, yeah, there was one of the events that I was like, I didn't even see that one. And what's funny is I didn't even see that one, and it ended up being my favorite of the entire competition for the Masters.
I love this game where we like, this was my favorite one.
Yeah.
Because I remember we were talking on the team side, is that I was like, this is my favorite event of the entire weekend, including the individuals. I had that on the Bob's a Drag one.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like one of the best names. Some of the names are just like,
finally,
hey,
not event 7.
Like, cool. We'll call it muscle ups and logs. I'm like, oh my gosh. You know what's funny too is that you see these athletes do a lot of these event recaps, and they go event by event. I know Pat Vellner does it. I think Noah Olson was one of the first ones to really start this, and they open up about their experiences, their thoughts, their feelings, and how it went. Pat Vellner's names that he has come up with on his own are better than what they had at the game. Have you seen some of those?
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
Well, and dude, we've done that. Like when we were in Dubai, that was one of the things, the round table, like, all right, guys, what are we going to call this one? And there's this whole round table of what cool name you can come up. I mean, that's where Acid Bath came from.
Right. Well,
that's just talking around, that's like all of us is kind of figuring it out. What's the cool thing? What does it seem like? What do you feel like? What's it going to look like? And then all of a sudden you get like log and overhead squat.
Yeah.
Or event 6.
Well, maybe we'll touch on that at the very end. Right.
Maybe we should go through one of these times when we have really nothing to do, and we'll put real names to all the events. We're going to rename
reprogramming the CrossFit
all the events. We're not going to reprogram it. We're going to rename it.
I love that. Because we didn't have any at semifinals. It was just and then they called them tests, which was also not fun to do. And
dumb.
By the way, I listened to Boz and Pat Sherwood's podcast, Very Not Random. It's sponsored by Beyond the Whiteboard, which they're associated with, and they have programming templates within that system, and it's a whole thing. And they just posted yesterday. Actually, JR told me about it today. Of course, I'm late to the party. JR is always on top of it.
I don't know how you guys do it. I'm always like the third wheel to the bus on that one.
Yes. And it was called like Dissecting the CrossFit Games with him and Pat. And I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, the entire time they called them events.
Good.
I was like, fine, I'm not saying it anymore.
Yeah,
like,
or whatever, Adrian.
In the first 2 minutes, I think Pat said event 10 times and Boz didn't say shit. So I was like, all right, I'm not saying test anymore until you make me say it again.
There you go.
My job. So we're going
back
to events. But that would be fun. And another thing that would be fun, and you guys let us know in the comments here, is we've done these bracket elimination styles, best CrossFit Games event of all time, or a bracket elimination style of, I don't know what have we've done, maybe regional events or something like that.
Yeah. Open events.
Yeah. Bracket elimination style of best named events. We could do some of those. I always like.
I'm going to vote for test. I'm going to vote for test 6.
Test IE. 10.
Not even event 6. Oh, IE.
I know we're shitting on the test right now, but there was a time in 2021 where Dave was like, we're calling him. We're not naming them anymore. I was like, oh, shit, dude, we have so much to work with. We can rename all of 2021, all the semifinal tests from this past year, and all the tests from this year, because I think, I know they had bigger things to do than think of clever names, but I like those.
It's a small team. It's a small team.
Like Corey already says, 2-stroke pull for the win. But we're going to touch on the age group division. As we usually do, we're going to stick with basically the initial baseline version. We're not going to go through every different iteration that they have for all the divisions. So we'll go baseline. So we'll start with event number 1, 3 minutes to establish a 1 rep max snatch, straight into 3 minutes to establish a 1 rep max clean and jerk. Different than the teams and the individuals did, where they got 2 lifts only in a 20-second tiering round robin style format. For this one, it's like 3 minutes and 3 minutes.
Yeah, way better.
I like this format way better.
Way better.
A way better start.
Way better. And the one downside is, and not that they did a lot of coverage for it or anything like that, how they covered it. But if you were going to call this, like if you had this in the individuals, then the camera's bouncing all over the place trying to see who has the lift that's going up. So as far as calling it, that makes it difficult. But as far as programming it and trying to get this is your strength test. This is your maximum strength test. So if you want them to have a maximum output, you got to give them the chance to do that. So I love the fact that they went 3 minutes. And that's cool, because guess what? You're probably going to get about 3 lifts.
Yeah, 2 to 3
lifts. Which is about what we want.
3 lifts for sure.
That's about what you want, because we said, like, if we're talking Olympic lifting, you get 3 lifts. The individuals had 2, the teams had 2. Now you'll get at least your 3. Maybe you get at least a go out and let me just grab the bar so I can feel like I've been sitting around for 10 minutes or whatever. Right. I think it's awesome. Great start. Boom.
Boom.
One in the win column.
What I like here, 2 things. I love what you said, because you did bring a fair look at some of the reasons why it's really hard to program a event like this for weightlifting, is that it makes it nearly impossible to cover on the broadcast.
Oh, man.
Which does go into when you're doing a live broadcasted event like the CrossFit Games or like semifinals. That comes into play because it is tough. It's a bit of a mess. That being said, it shouldn't completely eliminate a better event for the athletes. And maybe we can figure out a better way to cover something that is everything's all happening at once. That being said, is that what I really like about the 3 rep or 3 minutes is that they're coming in somewhat warm, right? There's the resting in the corrals. Usually it's 10 to 15 minutes removed from their actual warm up. Now they do put platforms, I think, pretty close to the corrals where they don't make athletes just sit there cold, which is an evolution of the sport. Before it was like 20 minutes cold, go lift as heavy as you can. The other thing is we heard a lot of athletes talk about was on the 2-minute rotating one, is that they would almost get cold in between lifts. And cold, that is like temperature, maybe if you're in the Coliseum temperature, but like their bodies, you know, as you're doing these lifts, like your bodies are firing, your muscles are flying, your blood is pumping, you stay loose, you stay warm physically when it comes to movement and athleticism. And here, you don't have that problem. In fact, I think this is actually set up better to keep people warm. And then when you foray this into the clean and jerk right away, right? Whatever you usually hit snatch wise is like you might be able to pick up for your first clean and jerk.
Totally.
Like you don't even have to, like you just get a weight on the board and it's a good weight. Like if Sam Dance is out there clean snatching 275 and your first clean and jerk is 275, like that's a good score on the board.
Yeah.
Especially for this division.
Yeah. I like what you said about the staying warm. You know, if you're an Olympic lifter, you're used to a lot of downtime in between your lifts, but CrossFitters aren't used to that. We don't do that. We're like, how many lifts can you do in a minute or every minute on the minute? So you start losing that. You start losing time where you're just sitting and not doing anything. I mean, our bodies are high functioning recovery machines, you know? So we don't want to cool down. We want to be ready to go. But I think 3 minutes was great. Yeah.
I think, and another tip of the cap. This was the first event of the weekend. Everyone's fresh. Everyone's relatively healthy, depending on how they came into the competition, and they can just hit some lifts without
and they're not broken
worrying
yet.
about. So
not broken.
Yeah, exactly. Now the second part to this back-to-back event on day one is that there was only a 1 minute transition before they go right into this chipper for event 2, 84-foot farmer carry, 170 pounds respectively, basically the jerry bags.
Yeah.
21 burpee pig jump overs. So the pigs are laying flat. They do a burpee and clear it. Farmer carry around some dummies, 50 wall ball shots, 20 and 14 to 10 and 9 foot respectively. 50 cow row, 50 wall ball shots, farmer carry around some columns, burpee over the pigs, farmer carry back. I love this chipper. One, it favors a human like me. It's like, okay, farmer carries at those weights, no problem.
Right.
I'm 6'2", 215. Burpees over the pig, fine. There's no barbell. I already paid my dues in the previous event where it just got smashed by everybody. But then wall ball row, wall ball, yes, please.
Yeah, totally.
And I think a little bit here is, I'm not saying I like it. The 10 and 9 foot thing, obviously we've established our rules there, or our opinions, not rules. I should not misspeak.
Fuck it, I'm going to say it's a rule.
Fine rule. Our foundations, not changing the cow rows for the women. I like to offset a little bit of what they did here.
Oh, that for the height?
Right.
Okay. All right. That's
okay.
Fair.
So look, guys, we're fair. Stern but fair is what I used to tell my athletes. Stern but fair. Overall, though, after what we just did, I mean, this is a good North Park Field day one grinded out chipper. Like nothing here is high tech, high technical. Nothing here is high skilled. Nothing here is too heavy. Nothing here is too much. It's a good grinder.
Yeah. What's crazy is that, you know, you're talking about an athlete of your size, someone with some height to him, wall balls and rowing. And it's rare that you see just an event that is wall balls and rowing. But like with this particular event, the entire thing is basically set up that the taller you are, the better you are. The jumping over the pig, that's going to help. Like if you have the height, that's going to help. Mm-hmm. You don't gain anything. The shorter statured athlete doesn't gain a whole lot by being able to win on the burpee with that, because you got to do that jump. Those bags, they were really weird and long. Mm-hmm. I mean, even like Sam Dance, when you see him cruising around with them, like by the time that they're hanging from the handle and then the sack part, it's down by his like low shin. Now you get an athlete that's smaller. Yeah, that's hard.
Why that makes a difference versus, say, a kettlebell.
Well, I mean, okay, one, it's going to be swinging and bouncing all over the place, and the length of that, when it pendulums, you have a longer distance. When it's with a kettlebell, it's going to be a lot shorter, and you can control that swing, or because it's a fixed handle, that's attached like that, I mean, you're not going to have nearly as much movement. These ones, I mean, probably the length from the handle to the bottom of the bag was what, 1.5 feet? Maybe even more than that.
Video of it, but
I mean, like with Sam's, it was pretty long. So if you are a shorter athlete, or you have, you don't have long legs, those bags are going to be down towards the ankles. And now it's not about how you're walking, being able to keep that bag or the objects away from your feet. If you're taller, you can keep it up closer to your knees. You're going to have a lot better step. The shorter athlete, you're going to be like tripping on your shoestrings.
Yeah.
So the entire thing was set up for the tall athlete, which was with more movements than just rowing and wall balls, which I thought was interesting.
Very interesting. And we usually don't see that.
No.
I would say traditionally it trends more towards the smaller athlete, just because a lot of our movements are anthropometric dependent.
Yeah.
Right? It's like air squats. Okay. Shorter person's going to beat the taller person with the same fitness level but different range of motion.
Totally.
Right? Pull-ups, push-ups, anything with a weight as you're passing through these. But there are also some movements that do favor bigger, taller athletes. Wall balls being one of them, machines being another, jumping over or on top of something having another, and having all of these in here was very interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, there wasn't a balancing. Yeah. Like, let's throw pull-ups in here, or something like that. That was interesting.
Yeah. Let's see. What does Wex say? I carry those jerry cans so heavy and rub the hell out of your legs.
Yeah.
Yes. One thing for farmer carries before we move on to the next event is, do you ever, like, when you get farmer carries, I'll get like bruises on the outside of my legs from my thumbs, kind of like bashing and dragging into them.
Do you not cut your thumbnails or something, dude? What are you doing?
Not like thumbnails, like, because I'm holding on, so the points are just like smacking into like my IT band.
I don't even think I think about that. I do know that, like, if I do any dumbbell work, I get that thing right there.
You're not taping your thumbs anymore?
Well, that's up higher than where my tape would go.
Oh, that's true.
Because it's going to be up here. That's going to be
up every time. Dude, I did. I've been doing Dave Castro's programming, which we'll go through. We'll go through 2 weeks of Castro.com is what I've
Dude, hold on real fast. before you even go on this, I have a quick, I'm just going to throw it out there as a little seed for conspiracy theory. Check this out. What if they made this big thing about how it was going to be Dave Castro programming, and it was actually like Adrian Bosman or someone else, where they're like, you guys made a big deal just because it was Dave Castro. Guess what?
So
it was actually Dave Eubanks that programmed the whole thing.
That would be so awesome.
Dude, could you imagine that? People's minds.
I would love.
If they did that, then nobody would know. And then it's like you're just blindly following. You aren't even paying attention to what is being done. You're like, oh, Dave did it, so we're just like, that would be nuts, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
man. Anyway,
maybe
we'll never find out.
Dude, that would be awesome,
wouldn't it?
It's like when they're doing, gosh, what do they do? They do some of these tests where, like, someone have you seen this? Is like, just to show like how ridiculous modern society is that Payless put up this like fake bougie shoe store in a mall, and it was charging like $400 to $500 per pair of shoes, and all these influencers came in and they're like, what do you think about this product? And they called it like, I can't remember, they called it like Palese, something like really fancy, right? And all these idiots holding these shoes being like, oh, the texture and the material, and of course I'd pay $400 to $500. And they're like, these are $25 Payless shoes. You moron. Right? And just show people how ridiculous things are. That would be cool, because you're right. I think some people they would do this for whoever, right? There's going to be a side of the fence that just is like, I'm shitting on this today. They're like, oh, well, bring Dave back, or bring Boz back, or bring Greg back, or bring this person back. And then like, see, look how great this program is because it's Dave Castro. And yeah, if like Eubanks pops up and he's like, right. Like, you look so dumb right now. I would love that. Let's see. What did Glenn say? Just catching up. I wish Pat was more involved. His lack of questions for Boz was weak. He didn't challenge him in anything, and why not ask about the broadcast modified either version? Yeah. Yeah, if you go listen to it, it was less dissecting and more just like event descriptions, which I wanted more. But I think Boz is actually going on with Talk Elite Fitness tomorrow. Tomorrow. Yeah. So hopefully they ask better questions. All right. Moving on. Oh, I did see the Payless thing. Yeah, it was great. Okay, moving on to event number 3. It is Helen. 3 rounds for time, 40 meter run, 21 kettlebell swings, 12 pull-ups. Traditional Helen, the way it was designed to be. When you look at that, it's just sustained intensity for 7 to 9 minutes at a maximum power output with the emphasis on running speed and stamina. The swings and pull-ups are really just like, don't get a no rep with this caliber of athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it was good to have it in there. I think it was for
I'm glad they did
the Masters athletes. I think that this was completely appropriate. I mean, maybe not the 35 to 39. Those guys are still just unbelievable. But I think generally speaking, for the age group divisions overall, this was a nice one to have in there.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like, and it was the one thing I was worried about coming in, was the kettlebell swing standard.
Well, yeah.
It was just above the brow, I think is what they said.
That was the standard that they gave him?
Yeah.
That's shitty. Yeah. I think...
Well, it made it look... Because when you saw videos of people's, like, there was swing heights all over the place, and poor Sam Briggs is just, like, has the most legit swings of all time, and she's getting beat because people are just going to what they were told.
Well, and I heard that she got no reps. It's like, dude, what is happening?
Part of the danger of kettlebell swings programming. Totally. That being said, I love this callback. I love this benchmark. I've said that multiple times. And giving it to the age group division where it becomes a really decent, legitimate top to bottom test.
Yeah. I like the all out. I like the fact that it's an all out deal. It's obviously weighted, especially for these athletes now, weighted more towards the run side. But I think that that's okay. I don't think that that's bad. If you have, as long as you have a multitude of events in here, that's okay to have. So it did what it was supposed to do. I think that we as a group, we need to learn how to be okay with kettlebells. Like, what is really the standard that you need? You know, I mean, getting hung up on the bell needs to be above the hand and where, okay, what are you testing? Figure out what that thing is. If it's above the brow and you don't give a shit about if the arms are straight or not straight, I mean, figure it out.
Yeah.
So that you can use it, so that you can do this and not talk about the kettlebell swing, no reps. You can just watch the athleticism of the athletes as they blast through these 3 movements.
Which I think is what they did with the above the brow thing, but maybe more clear, which is fine.
What kind of kettlebell swing would you call that? That's not a Russian. It's not an American. What do you call that? Australian? An Indian?
Shots fired at Australia. The kettlebell is one of those that we should be able to, and we can in our gyms. And it's just it's a factor of the athletes taking this test because it's speed of the movement versus difficulty of the movement, which always presents its own challenges.
Totally.
But it's one of those where the more gray you actually give this particular movement, the easier it does make it to judge.
Yeah, totally.
We got in trouble. It was like black and white. You're like, swing, no swing. Rep, no rep.
Right.
Yeah. South American swings.
But anyway, I thought it fit nicely.
Okay.
I thought it fit nice.
So this was day 1. Lift, grinder, Helen.
Brent.
You went heavy day, blast output, grinder of a big chipper, and then just a max intensity classic WMG triplet. I mean, that's a good first day of competition.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, starting off day number 2, we've got 3 rounds for time, 3 rope climbs, 10 deadlifts at 350 and 245, 42-foot sled pull at 260 and 215. When all those are completed, then a sled push all the way down the floor to the finish line. I think this was named, what is this named?
Pulling power?
Pulling power. Yep. That's what it was. So much pulling.
Yeah.
It's in so much, I would say, high density critical pulling. Rope climbs, heavy deadlifts, sled pull, over again, and then into the sled push at the finish line. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying it's like, dang, like we did quite the amount of redundancy coming off kettlebell swings and pull-ups, which they're not going to be too smoked from. But, I mean, I don't know. I go back.
Well, okay, no, they're already, especially with this particular event, like it doesn't hide the fact. I mean, what did we talk about on the individual side? We talked about how much over redundant pulling that there was.
Yeah, over redundant pulling, but like overly critical element pulling too.
Totally. And
Like
then here we are.
different things, but this was just straight up pulling.
Well, and then here we are, and now it's not even with these four. You add this event, and now the farmer carry, which it's kind of like handstand walking. It's like it's shoulders, more of a stability. This is like pulling, but it's more like stability and like grippy. So now all of a sudden, the farmer event, the kettlebell swing, the pull-ups, and now all of this. Now it's like, okay, we dipped way into the red on pulling now, which is hard because when you start looking at the other events that are coming up, like day one, great. And all of a sudden we stepped into a big puddle, and then we start going down the path of here we go down the pulling hill of dot, 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 dot. Yeah. So, I mean, I like the event as a whole. I like this event. I think it's awesome. This would be really fun to do. I like all these pieces. I think it'd be awesome. But that is a shit ton of pulling. And I don't mean a lot of pulling. I mean a shit ton of pulling.
And tough pulling.
Yeah.
Rope climbs.
Like degrading pulling. This is gonna do damage to you. Like your body's gonna feel these.
Now, the one thing I do see when I look at this is that I get really big JT vibes because we're pulling in 3 different planes.
Right.
So we have that vertical pull down. We have the pull from the ground to extension from the floor. And then you have that horizontal with the sled. I like that. I like that mix up. And I'm with you too, is I would like to do this. It would be a good challenge for me physically just because of the weight on the deadlifts.
Yeah.
I'm good at rope climbs. I'm good at upper body pulling endurance. The sled push just sucks.
Right. That's like your active recovery.
But yeah, it's a lot. It puts a heavy emphasis on that.
For sure.
And, just not, so one or the other, we're just, giving details. Event 5, this was our gymnastics chipper. So we went from weightlifting only in day 1 to a grinder event after that into a classic CrossFit benchmark workout, from sled pulls to rope climbs to deadlifts, like big pulls. And then we go to handstand walk, says 48 feet, 30 box jumps at 30 and 24 inches, 30 GHD sit-ups, 30 single leg squats, 30 toes to bar, work your way back, 30 single leg squats, 30 GHD sit-ups, 30 box jumps, and then a handstand walk back. Straight up gymnastics across the board. This helps balance out what we did with the weightlifting only test. The only shitty part about this is somebody got hurt.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the nature of sport. It sucks. It's part of the game. They did change things after this once the individuals took the stage. You got the inverted handstand walks into the explosiveness, jumping on a higher box. You have the GHD sit-ups with the core fatigue and that flexion. Into the pistols, which, depending on how well you are at holding your leg out in front, the GHDs will tax that. Back to the core flexion from the rig, which is an opposing core flexion, like almost different pulling patterns like we talked about, right? It's like the GHD is lower body anchored trunk flexion.
Right.
The toes to bar is upper body anchored trunk flexion, which 90 total reps is whatever. I like the mix and match there. It does become like major core because, shoot, box jumps. I'm like, have you guys ever tried to do box jumps after your hip flexors are shot?
That's why everyone talks about how their low back starts to hurt. They're all like, "Ooh, getting all wonky through the midline."
Yeah. What do you think about this?
I like the pieces. I wish that they could have put a little bit more emphasis on shoulder gymnastic movements rather than stabilizing, something to where it wasn't just, I mean, I like that they did pistols. I think that's great. I like all the movements, And yes, it is gymnastic because you don't have any barbells. It's just moving your body through space. And that's what we define as gymnastics.
Yeah.
But they could have done something to balance out event 4 with the pulling power. I think they could have done some more pressing type of stuff to do that. The other thing that I was really wondering about was we already did an up and down chipper in the beginning. We did that on the first day. Why not just make this like a true chipper where I don't have to come back to the pieces again? Like once I'm done with my handstands, I'm done. Once I'm done with my GHD, I'm done. Once I'm done with my box jumps, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then we already we did jump overs, and now we're doing box jumps. So this one seemed, I don't know. I like the event individually for what it is, but I feel like it was programmed in a vacuum again. Like why are we doing box jumps again?
Yeah.
Why? I don't know.
Do you like this one more than say what the individuals did for their gymnastics test?
Yeah, and I the reason I say that is because I feel like the individuals was way too cartoony and circus-like. I don't think that it was. It was more in your gym testing what can you do rather than here like the pullovers. Like let's race on pullovers. That just seems weird to me. At least these all fit way better. I'm just talking about this particular event in what we've done so far. We already did an up and down chipper.
Yep.
Why was it designed that way? We already did. We had all this pulling. Where's our pushing that we're going to have? We have the handstand walking, and then the box jump piece again.
So, question for you.
Yeah.
If all they did was replace the 30 toes to bar with 30 strict wall-facing handstand push-ups,
that would definitely help it. Definitely help.
I agree. I agree.
You know what I mean? Like
you got handstand walks to start. The pinnacle is a wall-facing handstand push-up, which they've all been tested in quarterfinals.
Right.
Semifinals. Or did they have them in quarterfinals? I think they had them in semifinals for the age groups.
For the age group.
Pinnacle of what they've already been tested on, and then back down. And in that test, what did they have? Didn't they have GHD sit-ups, wall-facing handstand push-ups, and like burpee box jump overs, if I'm not mistaken, in semifinals? Is that test?
Oh,
was that chipper?
Let me look that one up.
Yeah, look that up. So that would have been a cool thing to build off of what they all got tested on to get here.
Right.
And I think an extra push in there that is basically the pinnacle of the chipper physically. It's right there in the middle. And it all centers around that because, all right, we taxed your shoulders a little bit. Now we got your heart rate with the box jump overs. We're taxing your core. We're taxing your core again with the squats. And now all that needs to be in line and checked off the box to get through these handstand push-ups. And then you work your way back down.
Was it semis or was it quarters? Quarters?
Was it quarters?
Might have been quarters. Let me look. It wasn't semis.
It wasn't age group semis?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Age group.
Age group quarterfinals?
The dumbbell. Yeah. Okay. So test 2A.
Yeah.
Was 10-minute AMRAP, 6 wall, chest to wall handstand push-ups, 9 GHC sit-ups, 12 box jumps.
Okay, there you go. You did this in quarterfinals.
Right.
Interesting. And the rig was there. You could put plexiglass up. It was there.
That's what I mean. Like it just by itself, it's cool. I like what it is, but it missed what it could have been, should have been.
Plexiglass up and just do the same thing for the individuals instead of the pullovers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That being said, I did like this better than the individual test.
Yeah, 100%.
More things in there.
100%.
Inversion. Okay. Going to, I believe that was the end of day 2.
Yeah. Final day. No, wait.
Oh, no.
You have the run.
5K was, or sorry.
Got the worldwide global cross country.
Global
5K run.
5K, unless you were on site, and it was a 4.5K.
Right.
It adds in it puts a longer time frame out there. 17 to 20 minutes is what we had out there. We just did a gymnastics test. Now we went monostructural test. We did the weightlifting test prior to that. Yeah, 5K.
Talked about it already.
Talked about it already for the individuals. Don't hate it until I get to event 8. So we come to the final day of competition. Right? Is this the final day?
Yeah.
Yeah, final day on Thursday, 2 events. The first one is called Endure the Coliseum. 50 cal ski, 50 cal echo bike, 75 double unders, as if that equates to 50 cal.
That's the 30 double unders from the games. It's a harkening back to 30 double unders.
50 cal ski, 50 cal C2 bike, and 75 double unders. At minimum, those should be double. 50 cal ski, 50 cal echo bike, 150 double unders twice.
Yeah.
At minimum. It's all monostructural, so you're offsetting what the gymnastics chipper was. We have a machine chipper. They should have called this without the double unders. Like, do you know Jordan Holland?
Yeah.
He does. He told me he used to do these program things where he called it OnlyFans, but it was only like fan machines.
OnlyFans. Got it.
That would have been a great name for this minus the double unders. OnlyFans.
Yeah. Still kind of fans. It's still a lot of wind on the jump rope too.
But dude, 50 cal ski, what is that taking? 3 minutes? 50 cal echo bike, same.
Yeah.
Right? We're not blasting it. 75 double unders takes about 45 seconds. And then back to the ski where it's going to take 3 or more minutes. And then the Concept 2 bike, about the same. 2 to 3 minutes. If they're 3 minutes, they're burned out. And then another 45 seconds. So I would rather have this than the 5K. Let's take the 5K out.
Yep.
Or keep the 5K and don't put this in. Do something else. Because we doubled up.
Totally.
And to speak against my own skill set, this benefits, again, what we saw in event 2.
Yeah.
Big athletes with big engines. Again. Which is really weird that I feel like we're trending more to we're trending away. And I'm not saying this is bad, right? But since Boz has come into the fold, like there are more events that are pushing towards the bigger, stronger athlete. With conditioning.
One of the things, and I'll talk about it. There's something I want to say when we get to the end. We get through this whole thing. For the age group divisions. I like that because as you start to age up, the weights really drop down. Yep. So now your champions aren't your bigger, stronger athletes. They're the lighter, smaller athletes that can do a handful, can do some of these like gymnastic type movements, the bar muscle ups, the ring muscle ups. But when you have to look at like how much weight can they move or how much actual power output do they don't have it. But everything is brought down so much that now the bigger athlete, there's no buffer. So I like the fact that they have some pure power output stuff in here. But with this particular event, why again are we doing an up and a down? We're doing it again. It's the same basic. I mean, okay, you swap out the Echo bike for the C2, but why not either just do 2 rounds of the same thing or just do it a straight chipper where you go,
it basically is
75 things all the way down and take the rope out.
Yeah.
Damn it.
So close.
So close.
So close. Yeah. Would you rather keep, because right now we had a single modality test with clean and jerk and snatch, combined weight, single modality test of gymnastics, single modality test of monostructural with the run, and another single modality test, not a single movement, but a single modality chipper of monostructural. Coming from the guy who would love this, do you think there's a skew towards
single modality work?
Half of the events are single modality.
Yeah. Like it's hard because you have Helen in there with like, okay, thank God you got your classic CrossFit in there. But that's all you're hanging your hat on, the classic CrossFit. They could have blended a lot of these things, and I think still gotten the same. You don't have to have it to where all the events are single modality. I think it's cool to have a handful in there. I mean, pick your 3. Do a gymnastic, do a weightlifting, do a monostructural.
So
and then the rest of the stuff
9?
should be classic CrossFit.
Right.
I mean, that's what we're testing. We're not testing the special, and granted, they've had to go through their qualifying events to get to this point, but still, you don't need to. I don't think you need to have that many. And then, like, seriously, I don't like double unders, and please, 75.
Yes, thank you.
Please.
It's like, why? Yeah. Good for me.
Yeah, totally. Dude, you would smash if you were like, shoulders good.
Yeah.
Had 3.5 weeks of training. You would smash this event.
Dude, these games would be great for me. I was like, all right, snatch and clean and jerk. I'm going to get last probably. Like, I have a decent snatch, but, clean and jerk is lower than the top 10 people here.
Right.
But
everything
Chipper,
else, yeah.
Great. Helen, I've gone sub 7.
Yeah.
Like, that's a claim to fame.
Did you look at any of the times?
Yeah.
They're interesting to me.
Yeah.
They're not nearly as fast as I thought that they would be.
I mean, what was the run course? Could I have probably received a few no reps when I did this? Right? There's that too.
No, totally. I get it.
But dude, I'll save that for the end. Okay, so the chipper is the chipper. Another chipper.
Yep.
Third one.
Yep.
In 8 events.
Third up and down chipper.
Third up and down. And then we have the sprint to the finish, 20 bar muscle ups, 30 alternating dumbbell squat snatches at 70 and 50. That was the finale, and it was just like, you have to hold on for 20. You have to be flawless with your intensity and execution towards the end. Okay. It made it exciting. People really went down hard towards the end there. A little similar, I mean, not intensity-wise, but it's like, okay, we did kettlebell swings and pull-ups, and now we're doing bar muscle-ups and dumbbell snatches. We got more pulling. I was like, meh. This is a meh event to me.
This was my favorite event of the competition for these guys.
Okay.
With the reason being that where I think that the CrossFit, the games events on a whole for the age group, the one piece that I've always said needs to be in the CrossFit Games for the Masters athletes, and I'm not like 35, 39. I still have a hard time considering that Masters. I really do.
Yeah.
But any like Masters athletes, an overhead squat, it has to be in there.
Okay.
Because we're not just testing strength. Because I know a lot of guys that can pull 225 pounds off the ground in a power snatch. But if they have to do an overhead squat at 135 pounds, they can't do it. So I love the fact that this is not just 10 bar muscle ups. You need to do 20 unbroken. Yep. And now you have to do all of those unbroken squat snatch with a dumbbell, which is going to push a lot of flexibility, a lot of stability that a lot of these athletes don't normally get tested at, especially at high intensity. So I liked it. That's why this was my favorite event.
Okay.
Because I think it needs to be there. Now, yes, there are a lot of redundancies. I take away all the stuff about yes, we've been pulling the entire competition.
Focus on the one event that we enjoy.
The one piece.
Okay.
The reason I like it so much is for those reasons, because it's like, okay, now you're pushing these outer limits of the Masters athletes. And I'll look at the Masters athlete as that like 40 to 60 year old.
Yep. Those
are the ones certain events have been shied away from because of their quote unquote age. This one right here doesn't do that.
Okay.
Now you have to have capacity, you have to have gymnastic skill, you have to have flexibility, you have to have stability, you have to have good mobility, and that is going to showcase what an older athlete should be able to do. Not just I can deadlift a lot, not just I'm a good runner, not just that I'm on the masters swim team down at the club, down the weight. Like I can get into these great positions, and that's the stuff that's going to showcase longevity for athletes as they get older. This one event, I think, showcases that. So that's why I like that one so much.
I like that. To your point, I like that they had bar muscle ups, I believe, almost across all divisions, except for maybe 65 plus for women.
Right. Yeah.
Different numbers, but they got their opportunity.
Yeah.
So, and some did power because of that, but okay. All right. Yep.
That's why I like this one.
Isolated in its thing for who we're giving this to.
Right.
And what it looked like. Watching it, I was like, yep, this is good. There were great races, came down to the very end. One no rep cost someone a championship.
Yeah.
One drop cost someone a championship. We had all that. Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right.
Now, that's not to say that it is, with all the other events connected, that it's the perfect event. But by itself and what it is, my favorite one of the weekend.
Which we can say, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, collectively, well, all right, I've got some things where things got placed, but the isolated here, and we've done that all year.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I like it. Question from Wex. Devil's advocate, why not program the same tests for the age groups as the individuals scaled for division's ability? And I will say this right off the bat, because you don't want to paint your age groupers as less than the individuals by having them do watered down versions of the individual's test. That's it. I'm sure someone will be like, oh, I would love to have done a version of alpaca. Or it's like, I don't think it sets the visual representation of who they are well when they're doing versions of. For the same reason, I hated the team events that were versions of the individuals. I like giving them their own thing, their own playing field, and giving them their own tests that we can watch them compete in their own competition versus, well, I just saw the individuals do this, and this is all lighter and weird range of motions and skill sets. I don't think it sets them up for success visually and a representation of what they're capable of when you have them less than already, something you already saw.
That's actually a really good point. I would have said that you could very easily do that because we do that every single day in the gym so that everyone's getting the same intensity. But again, we're trying to showcase competition rather than trying to showcase scaling capabilities and programming capabilities. And if they are different events, then they get to showcase that event as itself rather than what you're saying, a watered down version or the JV team or the B league or the whatever.
Right.
Let them do their thing and let them all race in that thing. That's also why I think that when they started doing the events with the swim one and the ski last year, where everyone did the same event, the 5K where everyone did it, it's like now that makes that special.
Right. One.
Yeah.
One.
Everyone's involved in this, so you get to kind of see across the board. So,
but I do really enjoy your point too. On top of that, was I'm separating the competition from the CrossFit affiliate.
Yeah, 100%.
Good point. Though, it'd be really cool to be like, hey, listen, I know, look at these super freaking star individuals, but look at the 65-year-olds doing the same version of that. That happens every day in our affiliate. Cool picture to paint once.
Yeah. Or if you want to do that in your affiliate.
Yeah.
Take the games events and turn them into, okay, well, how do we scale these so that everyone can do these?
That was a good counter to
nice job, Wes.
Yeah, thanks. Great question. Space Wolves. All right. End of the weekend. We have our 8 tests, top to bottom. Looking at the balance here, we had 7 monostructural, 9 weightlifting, 10 gymnastics. As far as movement patterns being used, push, we had 7, pull 15, Squat and legs, that's a combo of squatting and leg dominant movements. So sled pushes would fall in that category. Biking would fall in that category. Running would fall in that category. 15 and 15. Core flexion movements, 7. Jumping, 6. And hinging, 8. Take those numbers for what they are. Larger discrepancy actually on the age grouper sides from push to pull as far as movement patterns. That falls across all movements, monostructural weightlifting and gymnastics. Some movements have multiple ones. If you see above is like a dumbbell squat snatch. We have is hinging pull from the floor, squat to receive the dumbbell. You have to pull the dumbbell through the middle, and you actually have to have pressing stability and lockout to receive that dumbbell. It covers 4 different movement patterns, and this is the way that we assess movements and movement patterns. Top to bottom, of the 8 events we had, we said, 3 were up and down chippers. Of the 8 events we had, 4 were single modality related, even though it wasn't a singular movement, like, say, a lift and a run, but we had a gymnastics chipper and a monostructural chipper, and maybe that's the balance between the 2 of them, you could say. Heavier on the monostructural side, heavy on the pulling. I don't know where to go from here. I went first last time. You go.
Okay. I think that this is one of the weakest programmed, most off-balanced programmed games for the age groups in a while. They missed the mark on a lot of things. It's like they fell into the same vein of at least things that we saw as deficiencies or mistakes in the individual side and even on the team side, and fell into that same trap. Way too much pulling, not enough pushing. And even though you said, "What up, dude?
What's up, Jeffrey?"
Even though you said that there were like the dumbbell snatch, even though there are secondary stabilizing pressing movements on having to hold it up overhead. I mean, what I like that you did in the I think it was the team one, maybe it was the individuals too, where you talked about the main movement. So like the main movement of that is going to be pulling from the ground. Yeah, there's stability overhead, but I mean, we talked about that. They missed a lot of pulling, There's a lot of stabilizing, but a lot of pushing.
Okay,
there's a lot of pulling. Yeah, a lot of pulling. They were missing a lot of pressing.
Yes.
A lot of stabilizing pressing, but not actual pressing. And I think that really missed the boat there. There was a lot of power. Yeah, there was a lot of power output movements, but there wasn't a lot of moderate to heavy weight below parallel squatting. I just didn't see that at all. Yeah, there was sled pushes. Okay. Yeah, there was heavy drive on there was the rowing, heavy drive on the echo bike.
Yeah. But
there wasn't that classic, let's see what you can do, squat cleans, front squats.
Yeah.
Anything, it's thrusters, and not to say again that you have to have a barbell, but like in the individual side, there were a lot of other heavy weights that were moved to showcase the strength. Even the below parallel strength, even like the hinging that you had to do, that the athletes had to do to pick the pig up.
Yeah.
These athletes didn't have that, I don't think. Not to the level that they should have to balance it out, to really showcase that. So I just think that there was a lot of misses like that. A lot of great events individually, not put together very well at all. Again, and I've said this so many times this season, I'm really hoping that next year this is not going to be the case. But it seemed like there were events that were programmed in a vacuum instead of being looked at as a totality of either that competition, meaning the games, or in that season of what have we done up to this point and what have we worked our way up to be able to showcase what we really have to do.
Okay.
So as far as am I giving my thumb, my element 26? My element 26 on this is like I gotta go like 3/4 of a thumb.
Ooh.
I just really bummed. Like I think personally, I think I would have done pretty well in this competition.
Yeah.
With these events, but I don't think. Like I don't. too much on the monostructural side, too much on the single modality side, too much on the pooling side, not blended very well, same types of chippers, the up and down. It just seemed like it lacked some creativity and some true testing and programming ability. So I'll give it the 3/4 for that last event, because I like the fact that they put something actually that pushed like the 45-year-olds.
Yeah.
You know, I like that.
Jari Dagger's talking about squat dominant being in the snatch and the clean and jerk.
Yeah, how many you're going to do in that?
Well, 3? I said 6 reps, and the other part is like the squat has no relevance in the snatch. 0.
Right.
0. Clean a little bit more, but even then, it's still more about the jerk. So no, that offsets that. It doesn't.
Totally.
I'm with you. A couple things. You look at some of their time domains. We had 1 heavy day, 1 sub 5, 3 in that 6 to 10 range, 2 in that 10 to 15. So the bulk of our programming was in that 8 to 12 minute time frame with classic CrossFit, something north of that. We never really went over 20 minutes, so we didn't go super long. So that was missing. Like I said, it's like we didn't really do a lot of weightlifting below parallel that mattered.
Right.
Yes, the strength involved for, say, the clean part of that, but that's it, right? 3 or 4 reps at most, and it really came down to the jerk on that. Anyways, pistols were nothing. 100 wall ball shots broken up into sets of 50 again.
At 9 feet for some people.
At 9 feet for some people, nothing. The fatigue for, say, sled pushes, yes, that matters. It was only 120. I say only. The distance on the running, the sprinting on the running, the Echo bike itself, the C2 bike. So more of our leg was focused on maybe more monostructural heavy than it was weightlifting and for sure gymnastics.
Right.
And as I said before, as far as like styles of tests, like a couple up and down chippers, 4 single modality dominant tests. Not my favorite. Group games,
which is weird because you're usually every single time like, man, those are the ones.
Those are it.
Those are like it's so look at it, it's so clean, it's so pretty.
Yeah, and I would say of the 3 that we've looked at, individuals, teams, and age group, this is my least favorite, and I'm going to give it a 1.
Okay.
I think at the end of the day, the person who stood on the podium and won had the fitness and dominated that in a sense of this didn't favor anyone in particular per se. So I say that still stands. But yeah, not my favorite. That got the job done. You get 1 thumb.
I think I've undercut every single one of your things by like 0.25.
I know. I need to get back to that. I lost my nerve. Let us know what you guys think in the comments there on YouTube. Send us a direct message on Instagram. Get with the programming for both. Bill, other than that, hope you have a great week. We'll be back tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
We'll be back tomorrow, 10:30 Pacific in the morning, 12:30 Central, as we review the Rogue Invitational qualifier events, as well as maybe give some tips, pointers on how to be the most successful you can be during those events. Other than that, Bill, have a great week. What day is it?
Today is Thursday.
Is it Thursday? Okay.
Yeah, it's Technique Thursday, so I got to get down and do some technique stuff.
Yeah, teach them up, coach them
up.
Other guys, thanks for joining us. See you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.